Welcome to episode 3 of the Gilbride NFL podcast. Today, we're here with the normal crew, Brendan and Danny. This time, Ryan was refusing to join. He's being a little baby, playing Xbox with his friends, not enjoying some good time with his cousins. But, we'll do it without him. We'll show him we don't need him. So we have 3 segments today. We have the dark horse of the Super Bowl, who we think is an underdog, a team like the 49ers last year that could make it to the Super Bowl or even win the Super Bowl. Second, we have overrated and underrated players in the NFL. And then finally, we have our way too early NFL predictions. The NFL predictions should be pretty exciting, and I'm excited to see what these guys have. So, yeah. Let's get into it. So, let's start off with the dark horse. Brendan, you can host this segment. So.
Alright, so, guess that means I'm going first. So, Danny and I originally had the same dark horse, but I changed mine for the sake of the show. This might not be like the most dark horse, but I'm going to say the Minnesota Vikings. I think that even though they got rid of Stephon Diggs, I actually think that's going to help him out. He is kind of a head case. He's basically a poor man's Odell Beckham Jr., and they still have a lot of good receivers, including Thielen. I think Kirk Cousins is a very underrated quarterback. And I think that, with a lot of people thinking down on him, they could make some noise.
All right, so we'll move on to Danny. Danny being the hometown hero with his pick. Danny, you're up.
So I selected the Cleveland Browns with this pick because I think they finally have a good coaching staff, and they have the pieces together. I mean, they just had another weapon for Baker Mayfield and Austin Hooper. They signed Jack Conklin in free agency, helping out that atrocious offensive line. They filled in their safety spots, and all they need to do now is just help that offensive line a little bit more in a linebacker, and I think they can be set for the Super Bowl.
All right, so good pick there, Danny. Finally, I am up, and I think you guys know who I'm gonna pick. I'm going with the Carolina Panthers. Right now, they're my second favorite team behind the Browns. They have Teddy Bridgewater, who played really well with the Saints last year. He went 5-0. They have a decent offensive line. At running back, they have the best running back in the league, or at least best receiving running back in the league, Christian McCaffrey. Their defense is very solid. Obviously, losing Luke Kuechly took a big toll on them. But if what does happen in our draft projected and a guy like Chase Young falls to them, that'd be huge for their defense. Their defense is a little weak, but I do think they are a dark horse for the Super Bowl. So next up, Danny, you're going to host this segment. It's all you.
Okay, so this part of the show is going to be our underrated and our overrated players in the NFL. I'm going to start off with my underrated players and see if they have anyone to add. So I'm going to start off with Chardavius Ward. He's a cornerback for the safety, currently in free agency. He was the second cornerback on that team. He doesn't get talked about enough as like Chris Jones, Tyrann Mathieu, or Kendall Fuller was. He was a big part of that team, shutting out guys like Deebo Samuel and Emmanuel Sanders. Even though Deebo Samuel really helped him during the run game, he really didn't help during the receiving game in the Super Bowl, and that's mostly because of Chardavius Ward. I'm going to go with my second person, Anthony Harris. He was really well talked about during this free agency period for the Browns and other teams that he would go to, but then the Vikings franchise tagged him. I think that was a good move for him. He was the number 1 pass deflection percentage in the NFL, I think. He allowed the least amount of passes also. I think no one really talks about him as much as people like Derwin James and Jamal Adams, but he definitely needs to be talked about more. My next most underrated player is going to be Kenyon Drake. After being traded from the Dolphins, he went to the Cardinals and blew it up there. From the midseason trade, finally the Dolphins made a good decision, and then it worked out good for Kenyon Drake too, and helping that Cardinals defense reach where it was at the end of the season. My next player is going to be C.J. Treader. He's a very underrated center in the NFL. He plays for the Browns, and he really didn't get pushed around that much this year with the D tackle playing right next to Joel Antonio and Wyatt Teller. He really did help him out this year, and going against Aaron Donald and guys like and Quentin Williams, I think he held his ground very well. My next most underrated player is Chris Carson. He is a very underrated running back. He was in 5th place at one point for most rushing yards in the NFL. He's not talked as much about as Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey, but he is still one of the top rushers in the NFL, and he was one of the big reasons why that Seahawks defense moved as fast as it did.
That guy carried my fantasy team last year. He's so good.
Okay, my next pick's going to be Desmond King, corner for the Chargers. He played very well last season. He's one of the top cornerbacks in the league. Just now that they signed Chris Harris, he's going to be a 3rd corner, and that's going to be one of the craziest and best 3 corners in the league. One of the best secondaries in the league. He played very well last year versus a lot of guys like Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Darren. Who's the tight end for the Raiders?
Darren who?
I'm not sure.
And Cortland Sutton, he played very well. I think also another most underrated player is Jerome Baker. He was the most improved person on that Dolphins defense and even that Dolphins team next to Devontae Parker. He played very well left outside linebacker, and even when they moved him to middle linebacker, he still played like a top player in the NFL. My next player is Eddie Goldman. He was drafted in 2015. I think it was 15. And he was drafted in the late rounds. He wasn't seen. He went to a couple teams, and then he went to the Bears. It was a stud D tackle for him this year and the past year. He finally found something good. He played very well versus teams in offensive lines like the Packers and got in other teams like them. I think he played very well, and he's a very underrated player in my book. Okay, we're back. My final pick for the most underrated players is Larry Ogunjobi. He's a second D tackle for the Browns, playing behind Sheldon Richardson, and compared to some players on other teams, is very good. This year, Chris Jones had 9 sacks. Larry Ogunjobi had 5. That's more than half the D tackles in the league. He plays very good against the run. He played very good against good defensive lines, like the Steelers defensive line, the Ravens offensive line. Sorry. You guys have anyone to add?
Yeah, Brendan, you go first.
Yeah, so I picked a couple of my 3 most underrated quarterbacks. The first one being Baker Mayfield. I think Baker did have a very bad season last year. I mean, no one's going to deny that. However, I do think that guy has a lot of potential, especially now that he actually has, a good coach. I mean, the guy has been cursed with Hugh Jackson and Freddie Kitchens, 2 of the worst NFL coaches I have ever seen in his career. And I just think that the combination of that, he's got so many weapons, and they're finally building an offensive line for that guy. I think that now, in his 3rd year, He's been humbled. He's going to have a good team surround him. He's going to have a good coach. He's going to have a good year next year. Next quarterback I'm going to talk about is Cam Newton. I understand that the injury history has really hurt his career. However, the guy, when healthy, is, in my opinion, a top 10 or higher quarterback in this league. I mean, the guy, remember that year they went to the Super Bowl and he just lit it up.
Yeah.
He was going off. And if you could put him, I really think he just needs a change of pace. He was stuck in that Panthers organization for so long where everything was so inconsistent. I just think he needs to, he just needs a new surrounding, and he can get back to doing what he does best. And then the last guy I have here is Matthew Stafford, quarterback for the Detroit Lions. And let's face it, everything that's gone bad for the Detroit Lions has been basically everyone's their fault except Matt Stafford.
Yeah,
that guy
exactly.
He's so good, and his career has just been completely wasted by this organization. And I would just love for him to get out of there, go to an actual organization that can make some noise and really prove how good he really is.
All right. Yeah, I could agree with you there on Matthew Stafford. For me, I picked two quarterbacks, or the two that Danny did not mention were two quarterbacks. So first, I'm going to throw in Drew Lock, Broncos quarterback, drafted last year, I think, 14th overall by the Broncos.
No. That was no Fant. They picked 14th overall. They picked Drew Lock in the second round.
Yeah, Drew Lock. Yeah. So Drew Lock, he came out of Iowa. He's
Missouri.
a great player. Missouri. My bad. He was a great player in college, and I just love seeing him play. Like I said yesterday, after every Browns game, I'd turn on the Broncos game because it was on right after at 4:00, and I just love seeing Drew Lock play. I remember when he got his first win. He was so excited, and I love seeing that energy in players. I think he has a lot of potential to be a top 5 quarterback in this league, potentially the best quarterback in this league. Obviously, with Patrick Mahomes now, I think it'll be a little hard. But he is definitely the quarterback of the future for that organization, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Next up from my Carolina Panthers, we have Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater played great last year with the Saints. Went 5-0. Is just a great player. I think he's super underrated. After his injury, he played, like I said, played really well last year. And, that's really all I got to say. I think his play speaks for himself. That's really all. So, Danny, now overrated players. We'll go to the overrated side.
Okay, for my most overrated players, I have down, we'll start out with Lamar Jackson. I think he's a pretty overrated quarterback as of now. He's had one season of success, just like RG3 had. Everyone was on the RG3 hype train with the Redskins. and then RG3 blew his leg out. Same type of quarterback Lamar was. Then Lamar came in this year, hot on the blaze, ran into the playoffs at 14-2, and then got crushed by Derrick Henry and the Titans. He can play very well, but if he does not stay healthy, I don't think he can be a great quarterback in this league.
I'm going to disagree with you on Lamar Jackson there. Your point with him not being able to stay healthy, that kind of applies to every quarterback, doesn't it? The guy...
you say Cam Newton...
He had this problem his rookie year of being very predictable, but I don't think this guy is RG3, He's got a lot better of a build. He seems a lot more stable. He's quicker on his feet, I think, than RG3 was in his prime. And I think he's got a better arm than RG3 did, and I think he's got a better arm than most people give him credit for.
Well, then I could disagree with you with Cam Newton as an underrated quarterback.
You think he's overrated? Here, this is my thing about Lamar Jackson.
I don't think he's overrated.
I think Lamar's whole game is on the ground running, right? And I think he's not as deadly because you don't see when you think of Lamar Jackson, you think of scrambler.
Yeah.
It's the first thing you think of, and I don't think that he can develop into being a pocket passer because being as quick as he is, I think that if he gets hurt the slightest bit, you saw Braxton Miller at Ohio State. His QB career was done for.
Well, that's because Lamar Jackson actually has a good arm. I know Patrick Mahomes is a scrambler. Nobody says he's overrated.
No, but
because Patrick Mahomes.
But Patrick Mahomes' arm is better than Lamar Jackson's.
I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson has Patrick Mahomes' arm. I'm just saying he has a better arm than everybody gives him credit for. Yes,
Okay,
you think
I'll
of
give
him
you
as a
that.
scrambler, but you don't need to be a pocket passer quarterback in this league anymore to be elite.
That is true. So would you say? But no. What I'm saying is, if he hurts his leg, his ankle, would you consider him that he could be a pocket passer? He has the potential to be a pocket passer.
Well, I think that John Harbaugh's a good enough coach where he would be able to create an offensive system to turn Lamar Jackson into a pocket passer. Yes, he would still be stronger as a scrambler, but I think he does have a good enough arm where he can be a pocket passer if that is really necessary.
All right. So would you consider Lamar Jackson underrated? Like, would you say that with his
No,
arm?
I would consider he has the exact hype that he deserves.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I'm going to go on to my next one here. I'm going to go with another Raven. I'm going to go with Marquise Brown. Yes, he's fast. Yes, he's the best receiver on that Ravens defense. But he's definitely not
defense.
Offense. But he's definitely not one of the best receivers that came out that draft. Everyone's giving him the hype because he's playing with Lamar Jackson, collecting his ball for him. But then you got guys like DK Metcalf and AJ Brown who came out that same draft, who are better and have almost the same speed as him. I just think that he's overrated because everyone's hyping up the Ravens train, and no one's really saying on the guys like Deebo Samuel, who wasn't really shown, I think, until the Super Bowl game where he got those sweeps for yards and yards and yards. And DK Metcalf was hyped up through the draft, which then didn't get picked by the Ravens. I think he's just overrated. He didn't take as many balls as I think he would. I don't think he was meant to be picked in the first round. I think DK Metcalf should have been picked over Marquise Brown.
I would agree with you
that.
there. Yeah, I still think he's a rookie, and I still think he has a ton of potential. So I want to.
Yeah, I think it's kind of unfair to call rookies overrated just because you have a lot more leverage when you're a rookie.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what kind of player you're going to be just yet, unless you're like really, really bad right off the gate.
Yeah, like Anthony Bennett in the NFL or NBA. I mean, like
it can't apply in the NFL. I mean, Johnny Manziel. I mean, that Browns team was 7-4, and then he started and they went 7-9. He lost 5 games straight.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan was his offensive coordinator.
All right, that makes me mad. Don't talk about that.
Dude,
we could have gone 10-6. We had to win 4 more games. We were 7-4. That was all. All we had to do, win 4 more games. And Johnny Manziel, they decided to put Johnny Manziel in and go 7-10. 7-9. Who was our coach? Like Pat Sherman?
Okay, I'm gonna go.
It was Pettin.
Pettin. Mike Pettin, yeah. He wasn't bad. He was
alright.
I don't think he should have gotten fired.
Okay, I'm going to go on with 2 more players. I'm going to start with Jadeveon Clowney. He's way more overhyped than he actually played. He was not first overall pick material. He lit it up at the combine. He lit it up at college, but he has not put that over to NFL level. I mean, last year Olivier Vernon got 2.5 sacks and got hurt. Clowney was also hurt for a bit, but Clowney got 3 sacks. Barely more than Vernon. I just think he's overhyped. Everyone in Cleveland and anywhere else is crapping on Vernon because he's a bad player, but Clowney's not any better.
Yeah, that's true. I think.
Yeah, I had Clowney on my overrated list as well. I would actually take Clowney over Vernon though, just because I think Clowney is more of a presence on that defensive line.
And we saw,
but he is definitely overrated.
We saw a big improvement when he got traded from the Texans, to the Seahawks.
Yeah, presence-wise, 100%.
He's not a stat guy. I just think he gives a bigger presence.
Yeah.
And him on the opposite side of Myles Garrett would be very deadly.
Oh, that would be something to see. I would be real excited. I still really wish that happened, but sadly it fell apart. So
it still could happen.
I doubt it though. The Haslams, I don't know. I hope it does. I don't know. All right, move on.
Danny, you have anyone else, or we?
I got one more player. I got Vita Vea. He's not been performing well as it would be. He's not getting sacks. He's not bringing pressure. I mean, they got Dominican Sue on that defense and Shaquille Barrett, and they're doing a lot of heavy lifting on that defensive line and that edge, sacking the quarterback. Vita Vea is not doing work. He's not playing as well as people thought he would be. And people still hype him up because he caught that touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you. He's underperformed, but I mean, yeah. All right, Brendan, you're up.
All right, so the first guy that I have here is Jalen Ramsey, cornerback for the Los Angeles Rams. The guy he's very good, but he's not as good as everyone says he is.
He had 2 good years in Jacksonville, and then everybody...
He had a couple good years in Jacksonville, but he started to decline when that team started to decline.
Yeah.
And honestly, other than that day that I saw that Ramsey got traded to the Rams, I honestly didn't hear anything about the guy. I mean, and that may be because he went to the Rams, and they had one of the most disappointing seasons last year of any team. I would say they had probably had the 3rd most disappointing season behind the Browns and the Cowboys.
Well, they went 9-6, right?
9-7.
9-7, yeah.
Yeah, but going from the Super Bowl to 9-7 is a pretty significant drop.
Yeah, I think they're going in rebuild mode now, though. After cutting Matthews and Gurley, 2 big.
They're not going into rebuild mode. They have no cap space.
Yeah. Oh, so they cut both of them.
Unless Jared Goff on the good team, he's gonna have to take it.
At least
I don't think Jared Goff is a good quarterback.
No, I don't. That's why I traded him for Teddy Bridgewater and Madden.
Well, Madden in real life a little different, Jack.
All right.
I think he can be a good quarterback, but I think he needs to take at least $6 million off his cap space, off his pay cut every year, or else he's not gonna be around a good team.
Probably. Anyway, the next guy I have is 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes.
I understand that they did go to the Super Bowl last year.
He did nothing. He threw like 8 passes.
Let's face it, the reason why they went to the Super Bowl is because, I mean, in the NFC Championship, he threw the ball 6 times or something crazy like that. 6 times. I mean, their running backs, their receivers, their tight ends, and their defense was absolutely insane. You could have thrown friggin', I don't know, just Sean Kaiser on there and they would have been good. I mean, Jimmy G gets really overhyped because he played 2 games for the New England Patriots and won them because, oh my God, Tom Brady's not there and it's not like any quarterback in the NFL could succeed in Bill Belichick's system. But, I mean, I think that Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, he's not even close to the worst quarterback in the league, but he's not, if he were on any other team, he would not be as good as he is.
No.
I agree.
I love, you know what really made me mad?
What?
So, after the NFC Championship game, he said it was a blessing that he tore his ACL and that their team wasn't good without him. And they were able to get Nick Bosa. But, dude, you did absolutely nothing to get that team there. I mean, yeah, you came back last year and you won your last 5 games. Congrats, but you made it to the Super Bowl, but you only threw 6 passes in the NFC Championship game.
Not to mention you kind of choked in the Super Bowl.
Yes. Because you can't trust a guy like that who's been under a backup for a guy who is the best player of all time because he's never going to get any playing time at all. I mean, yeah, he's going to be mentored by Tom Brady, but, like, let's be real. Like, they traded him away, and he was under a bad, I don't even know. I don't know. Never mind. Let's just move on. Is that all?
All right, so I got a little bit of a shocker here. I have Steelers wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster.
All right.
I could agree.
All right.
You know, I mean, this is kind of how it is for all the overrated guys that I have. Like, they're not bad.
They just
They're
have
just overrated.
social media
You know,
presence.
they're not as good as everyone says they are. And, you know, I think that the Steelers, they're hyping up a lot of their guys that are supposed to replace their big guys, Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. I think James Conner's overrated as well.
I put that down. I put that down.
You know, and, you know, people could come out and say, oh, you're just a Browns fan and you're just trying to put him down. But, I mean, like, compared to Antonio Brown, I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster's not even close to Antonio Brown. And I understand that he's much younger and he's much, you know, more inexperienced. But, I mean, like, Juju Smith-Schuster, I mean, you know, he seems like he's like a fun personality to have on a team and all that. And he seems like a team player and a good guy. But that's not a name that when you're going up against him, you know, 1 week, that's not a time where he's like, oh, God, I hope Juju Smith-Schuster doesn't catch, like, 500 touchdowns against us or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, but when you think of Juju, you think of his social media presence. I mean, the man has a
I mean, to be fair, you could kind of say the same thing about Antonio Brown, but that's for a completely different reason.
Yes.
Yeah, but Juju has a good presence on social media. That's why so many people like him. But he's not as good as a player as people think he is on social media who don't watch football.
Right.
Yeah, go Juju because he's
like FaZe, for
really
example,
cool
FaZe. FaZe.
What'd you say, Jack?
FaZe. He's part of FaZe.
Oh yeah.
And like, that's a huge part of his his fame. And he's a good player. He's a very good player. I agree with you. He's overrated.
All right, and then the last guy I have here is Chicago Bears quarterback Nick Foles. The guy, he had like one good season where he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that season, it was crazy. You know, all power to him for winning the Super Bowl as a backup quarterback. You know, it's a great story. But I mean, Jacksonville, they paid him all that money, and like I didn't really expect them to like do much with that. I mean, I do like Nick Foles, but I mean, like he seems like more of a guy where you would bridge from one quarterback to another. Maybe that is what they are doing in Chicago.
Trubisky. With
Trubisky, or maybe they're giving up on Trubisky, which is exactly what I would do in that scenario.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Bears, they have a Super Bowl caliber roster right now, in my opinion, other than the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
I would have rather had the Bears go out and trade for Cam Newton than trade for Nick Foles. I think that team would have been so much better if they did that. But, I mean, Nick Foles, he's just kind of there.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a deal going with Teddy Bridgewater, and then it just fell apart, and then he signed with the Panthers.
Yeah.
Do you guys believe in Jameis Winston and being a good NFL QB?
If he gets the right coach, 100%.
I think, you know, he just got that eye surgery. I think what could be best for Jameis Winston right now is a year in the XFL. You know, because I think a big problem with Winston right now is that his confidence is being completely destroyed. I mean, the man has just went through a 33 interception season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, that cannot be good for confidence, and you need to be confident to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think he needs to go light it up in the XFL for a year, come back to the NFL, and just do his thing.
Yeah, but there's... I would agree with you on that. Like, he needs to do that, but will he do that? No, because there's too much money to be made in the NFL.
Well, what if he's not making any money in the NFL?
If he has a chance to make let's say he makes $500K in the XFL and he gets a $1 million offer, I'm sure he'll take that XFL offer.
The other thing is when Arians was there, I was kind of like, maybe this is the end of him, because Winston's not an Arians quarterback.
That's true.
You know, he's more of like a Gruden quarterback to me. Like, I could see Winston on the Raiders 100%.
Oh, Jack, what you got to remember about this is the NFL is not just a game, it's a business. You got to get that money any way you can get. So the Patriots offer him a deal for $5 million per year for a 2-year deal, instead of the XFL giving him a $1 million deal for a 1-year deal in the XFL.
He's going to take the Patriots deal, obviously. But I'm saying if the NFL team offers him $1 million deal and the XFL offers him $1 million deal, at this point the XFL is a better choice for him just to get.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
And it's a big ticket seller for the XFL as well.
Right.
So it's like a win-win situation, kinda.
Exactly.
I agree.
All right,
I think it's going to happen to Cam and Winston at this point is some quarterback's going to go down. They're not going to have a backup that they believe in, and they're going to sign one of those two.
Yeah.
For just the remainder of the season.
So,
I agree. Probably the Redskins.
Yeah. So I have my 2 overrated players were 2 running backs, both in the AFC North. I have the Steelers running back, James Conner. Like you said, Brendan, I don't think James Conner has any potential to be anywhere near Le'Veon Bell's caliber. I think he had one good. I think he played well at Pittsburgh, and then I think he had one more year, Pitt, like the college, and then I think he had a good year. His first year, he had a decent year. I don't think it was Pro Bowl caliber, but he had a pretty good year. A lot different than what people actually thought. But I don't think it's a good guy to build around. Maybe the Steelers can try to trade for a pick, maybe James Conner for a pick, and then try to draft a guy like J.K. Dobbins or Deontay Swift or Jonathan Taylor. That'd be pretty interesting to see. And then secondly,
Connor to me, he's more of like that third down running back that you put in special situations as opposed to the guy that you actually have starting.
Exactly.
Which is what they did for you when Bell was there, but then when Bell left, Connor had to carry the weight. And not that he did a terrible job, it's just that, the Steelers can't count on him forever to do that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
People, before Jack goes on to his next pick, I'm just going to give you a disclaimer. It's going to be maybe some screaming, maybe some yelling, and a lot of disagreement. Go.
Okay.
I know.
Wait, with what? Mine?
Oh, yeah, your next pick.
We both know who your next pick is going to be, and we both disagree.
All right, so before I go into my next pick about James Conner, I could see him going to a team like the Dolphins, trading their last pick, 25 or 26. Their pick for James Conner, and if they get a guy, another guy, maybe a bridge running back at this point, but maybe they draft a guy in the second round. Like I said, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, Deontay Swift, and then put James Conner in as their third down running back. So, so moving on to my second and last pick. I know you guys don't like this. I have Mark Ingram from the Baltimore Ravens. He is the most overrated player in the NFL.
The most overrated player in the NFL.
Most overrated player in the NFL.
Okay. Listen, I could kind of see where you were going with, overrated, but most overrated player in the NFL.
Yes.
There's a lot more players that are overrated.
Okay. Name one thing Mark Ingram did last year. Name one thing Mark Ingram did last year.
Didn't he rush for over 1,000 yards?
I think he did.
All right. Best offensive line in the AFC North.
Lamar Jackson's very good season, yes, but Mark Ingram is a fantastic running back.
No, he's not. I hate the dude. Okay, when he was in New Orleans, I'll give him that. Great running back. He played really well, but with this Ravens offense, I don't think he fits in because they already have a running back.
Okay, not fitting. Wait, what do you mean they already have a running back?
Lamar Jackson.
He's a quarterback.
I don't care, dude. Okay, and I'll give him this. There is one.
The team that you're on are two different things.
You
realize that?
Yes, I know. But there is one single thing I will give Mark Ingram. He was great at running the read option, but that is it. That is it. That is the only reason he got over 1,000 yards, because defenders would choose to go Lamar Jackson, dude, and that's all.
Jack, there are so many people that are overrated and more overrated than than Mark Ingram. It's insane.
Do you guys at least think Mark Ingram's overrated?
A bit, but not as much as most.
Not
overrated.
as I wouldn't say as much as you do.
I don't like the dude. I'm not a fan of him. I don't know why. I've just never liked him. Maybe because he's our rivals running back, and maybe that is it. I don't see enough evidence to say that he is a good NFL running back, and I definitely do not think he should have made the Pro Bowl. At all.
I mean, I don't think he should have made the Pro Bowl either, but going so far as to saying he's the most overrated player, not even most overrated running back, but most overrated player in the NFL is a bit ridiculous. I understand that he's not even close to the best running back in the NFL, and there are like 3 running backs in the AFC North that are better than him.
Yes.
But I mean, like...
if you go running back to the AFC North, you go...
Yeah, and listen...
It's Chubb, Hunt, Mixon, then Ingram, then probably Connor.
All right, three running backs that are better than him, and one of them made it. Like, Mark Ingram was so hyped up just because Lamar Jackson was on his team.
Well, I mean, the thing is, this is a debate over who should have made the Pro Bowl and who shouldn't, or who is actually
No, I'm
overrated.
saying